Hey guys, everyone's day is going well. Today, you're going to be taking a quick look at the MK1 YoYo's Dynames. This is Max Chu's new signature yo, and I'm super excited to be talking about it. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the review. Okay, so as usual, I want to give credit where credit is due. I want to thank MK1 YoYos for reaching out to me and asking if I wanted to do a review on this yo-yo. It was super generous of them, and I really appreciate it. So be sure to check out all of their stuff. The links will be in the description down below at the end of this video. Okay, so just a little bit of background before we jump into the actual yo-yo. I want to talk about MK1 YoYos. I've worked with them in the past on a lot of their different yo-yos, and I've constantly been impressed with what they create. So this yo right here, the Dynames, is Max Chu's signature yo. He's a sponsored member of MK1 YoYos, a really phenomenal yo-yo player, and I'll also be sure to include his Instagram in the description below. As usual, in order to get a baseline idea as to what this yo is all about, I'll put the specs on the screen right here. Okay, so in general, I think the Dynames doesn't have crazy specs, but there are two that I really want to point out. First things first, the width coming in at 48.1 millimeters is definitely more on the wide side. You guys know I love my wide yo-yos, and this thing is really, really wide. However, we'll talk about this a little bit later in the video, but I think this wide profile really suits the character of this yo-yo. I also wanted to point out that this yo is 7075 aluminum, which is a high grade of aluminum. Great to see that in these yo-yos. I'm really impressed, and MK1 always delivers with that. Okay, so now we have the specs out of the way, I'd love to talk a little bit more about this actual design of the yo-yo and the profile. So starting out with the appearance of this yo, this thing looks awesome. I personally chose the green and silver colorway. It's also worth noting that this is a monometal yo-yo, so those aren't bimetal rims there, just as a quick note. In general, I think this kind of dark green polished look looks amazing, but the silver accents make it look just even better. Really, really impressed with this. I think it looks awesome. So looking on over to the shape, this is a very organic shape. We've seen this time and time again, but I think their shape has a couple notable features I'd love to point out. You can see on the rims there that there's a couple little cuts right there, which is gonna adjust the weight distribution just ever so slightly, and then there's this really nice curve down to the center. I think in general, this shape is just so comfortable to hold in your hand. When it comes back to your hand after a bind, it feels amazing, and I love these organic shapes because they're really, really fun to play with. Moving on over to the cup, we can see we've got a really thick rim right there. Oh my gosh, that is awesome to see. And then from there, it honestly just cuts down to a semi-flat center. So the center itself is actually flat. However, it does bulge out from the yo-yo just a little bit. It protrudes a little bit. It's kind of like a button design. We've seen that before a couple times. In general, I think the cup looks really nice and very simplistic, which I love to see. Overall, the yo-yo looks great. As I mentioned before, the colorway is amazing. I think the shape is super comfortable to hold in the hand. And in general, I think this is just a very good, simplistic, clean looking yo-yo. Okay, so how does the Dynames actually play on the string? For starters, this is a very fun yo-yo, and I think you guys probably could have guessed that because of the organic shape right there, but in general, I found this yo-yo to be very fun on the string. It just feels satisfying when you throw it down. It sounds amazing when you're playing with it, has that nice ring to it, and in general, I just found this to be a very pleasant and enjoyable yo-yo. I'd say in terms of stability, this yo-yo is definitely very good for being an organic shape. A quick note, traditionally, organic shaped yo-yos where it has this kind of rounded edge were not super stable on the string, but recently, companies have been finding ways to make organic shaped yo-yos still stable and perform well. This yo is definitely no exception of that. In general, I found the spin times to be really, really nice on this yo. I was actually extremely surprised. The stability was definitely up there. This isn't gonna be like your competition oriented, like insane shape and insanely long spinning yo-yo, but personally, I think this is still a very well-performing yo-yo, especially because of the fact that it has that organic shape. It seems that in the yo-yo community, there's always this kind of battle between having an organic and fun shape versus having a more competition-oriented shape that feels very stale and boring on the string. So companies have recently been trying to forge these yo-yos that combine the two factors, a fun feel on the string, but also still performing well while you're playing with it. I think this yo-yo really does blend those two elements well together. I found performance to be very, very nice with this yo-yo. I was able to hit almost all of my tricks with no problem at all. I'd say in general, I personally found this to be a little bit more on the heavy side, just ever so slightly. I'd say most people will probably think of this as a kind of baseline yo-yo. I maybe have been playing with some light yo-yos recently, so maybe that's why I feel like it. But in general, I found it to be a little bit more on the heavy side, which isn't a bad thing. It just all comes down to preference. I had no problem at all with any of my whips, slacks, hop tricks, things like that. The shape is just so wide, so it's very accommodating for the string to land in the gap. Lots of room to be catching those tricks. I'd say in terms of technical tricks, which I know Max Chu is really good at, this yo-yo is phenomenal. It has a really nice long spin time, and I found that I was able to hit some pretty dense tech tricks with it, which I was impressed about. I would say in terms of horizontal, this yo may not be the best, and just the reason for that is the organic shape does make for a little bit of friction between the string and the actual yo-yo. However, I didn't really have too much of a problem with this in general. I think that Max Chu's play is definitely more oriented to the technical ideas on normal side style play, so I wouldn't expect this yo-yo to be absolutely amazing at horizontal like some other yo-yos might be. Since this yo-yo does have a polished design, I'm not going to talk too much about grinds for it. However, I do know that this yo-yo also comes in a matte finish, and I can almost guarantee that matte finish will be amazing for all your different types of grinds. Okay, so in conclusion, the MK1 YoYos Dynames is an exceptional yo-yo. It's gonna be your fun feeling yo-yo. It's gonna feel amazing on the string. It's got that organic shape which people absolutely know and love, and it still does perform well, I've gotta say. This is definitely a very wide yo-yo, so if you don't like wide yo-yos, I would not recommend this one, but if you're like me and you love a good wide yo-yo, I'd say this is an excellent option. Once again, MK1 YoYos has absolutely outdone themselves with this design, and I'm really impressed with it. Thank you again for sending this yo-yo to me. Alright, and that's about it for my review of the MK1 YoYos Dynames. If you guys did enjoy, be sure to leave a like. Also, if you guys are new here and haven't seen my videos before, hit that subscribe button so you can see whenever I post a new video. I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Peace.